So the markets did have the bounce that I was talking about yesterday, and we're looking at the S&P 500 chart right now. We're looking at the Dow Jones, Russell, Nasdaq, and we're going to have a look at all those charts and see exactly what's going on, because we did get the bounce, but what's coming next? Let's get straight into it. Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Alright, so let's get straight into it right now. There's a couple of different charts that I've got on my screen and I want to share with you. The first thing that I share with you is I look at the S&P 500. Now, let's actually look at this for a minute. Let me actually squeeze it down here. Let's remove the volume as much as we can. And if we squeeze the chart up and we just remove all the trend lines, just remove everything, just have a blank chart, what do we actually see? And this is a really big key. We actually see that we have a trough, we have a higher peak, we have a lower trough, we have a lower, I should say higher trough, lower peak, and now this is a lower trough. Very, very, very big key there. It actually made a lower trough before running up. Now, that's what we see there. Now, the Dow Jones. Now, as I'm going through these charts, the FOMC announcement is coming out, and we don't know what's going to happen there. But I'm seeing what are the charts telling us right now, and what are we likely to see moving forward. So we can see that's what we see there. We can see that we actually had this lower peak, and now we also formed this slight lower trough as well too. Actually made the lower trough. So that's actually very weak on the Dow Jones as well too. And if you look at the Russell's definitely made a lower trough, and also the Nasdaq has also made a lower trough as well too. But the thing is, I want you to look at here is this. Let's go back to the S&P here for a minute. We can actually see that if we have a look at the S&P, we can see that it made a lower peak here, and we're starting to run down now, and we have had a little sort of pop to the high side tonight or today. So we can see what's happened there, but notice we're faltering there. Let's have a look at the Dow Jones. What happened with the Dow Jones? The Dow Jones, the same thing, right? Lower peak, a lower peak, and also made a lower trough. Now the Dow Jones didn't make the lower trough first. The S&P made the first lower trough, and then now this one here. So you can see how it's faltering through here. Let's go back over to the Russell. What happened to the Russell? Well, you can see the Russell basically made just a slight higher peak, but you can see how this point through here, it's had like a technical double top or just a slight fake breakout, and now we're heading this run to the high side, and we're running into this overall resistance, especially on the Russell there. And look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has made a definite double top through here, so it's showing weakness, and now we're seeing a lower trough through here. So to me, guys, that is showing very, very weak to the high side. We are getting a little pop to the high side right now based on what I was talking about in yesterday's video. But here's the thing. When we actually look at this chart, let's have a look at this here for a minute. Let's actually go to this is the hourly chart down the bottom here. And if I go to the hourly chart and I go to, say, the S&P first, what can we see? We can see we're making lower peaks and lower troughs, right? And then we come back up to this here. It looks like we're starting to roll over again. And look at this. If I drew a trend line, you can see we can probably get a little touch through there, possibly even something going on through there type thing. Makes sense? So we can see the hourly chart. It's rolling over. It's starting to roll over. Let me move everything up the screen. It's starting to roll over, creating this lower peaks, lower troughs. Now, if we do run up and create a higher peak and then a higher trough on this hourly chart, yeah, then we're likely to start to move back to the high side. But we are starting to shift the momentum, and the momentum is shifting down. Let's have a look at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is doing the exact same thing. So we're starting to shift the momentum, especially on the short term, of going down. And we just looked at the daily charts. We saw what we're seeing on the charts there. Same with the Russell as well too. The Russell has continued to falter and have a rundown, and same with the Nasdaq as well too. We're starting to get that lower peaks, lower troughs, a bit of a gappy action as well too. So no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow with the FOMC announcement. It's a bit of a gamble, it's a bit of 50-50, But I'm just seeing what are the charts showing me right now, what are the charts saying right now, and the charts to me are showing very, very weak. So if I was trying to read the market and I was trying to see what was happening with the FOMC, I believe we're likely to see some weakness now going into the FOMC, and we're likely to see some move to the downsides. And the only reason why I say that is because every single chart we just looked at is showing a double top or just a slight high peak, and now we're getting lower troughs on all the indices. So that to me, guys, is very weak. This is the first sign of a down move. Now that's showing negativity. Now, as I said before, we don't know what's going to happen with the FOMC, but what we do see is on the charts that it's having a falter through. So I would not be too surprised if we did see the market start to falter here, and then we start to see a movement to the downside. So we'll just have to wait and see what Janet Yellen, or whatever her name is in America, see what she's going to do. And see what she wants to say about the whole thing, and whether they do make an interest rate rise. I think they're going to, but I still think that I still do think that the market's gonna falter and probably even pull back from that whole thing there. So I just see this little rally here as a bit of a sucker rally, getting people to think that, oh, look, we're bouncing here. But the bigger picture, guys, the bigger picture for me is showing a lot of weakness. So anyway, guys, that's it for me. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.